Hello, everyone, and welcome to SmashBoxx TV's podcast 317. Terry Miller, the disc golf guy, alongside Johnny V.
Hi.
And Johnny, presidential debate's going on. Should we get to that later?
Yeah, we can probably get to the debate later. We have a message that we want to get out. For those of you that don't know, the past 24 hours, there's been a pretty hot topic out on the Reddit discussion boards regarding and his sponsorship with Innova, his history with the law, and more specifically, his tattoo, his white pride tattoo, and what it means to him versus what we discussed about it 3 years ago.
Yeah,
and more specifically, how we handled it at the time.
Yes. The podcast, I don't recall the exact podcast number or date. I know it's been time and date stamped. I briefly revisited for a few seconds yesterday when I was made aware of this. I believe is from 2017. And we have a statement. Johnny V has written something up, and he's going to read it to you guys verbatim. Maybe you've seen it on Reddit. Maybe you haven't. What I'd like to set up and say, first of all, before we get to that, is we usually dance and play around pretty lighthearted topics. We talk about a disc that was thrown. We talk about who's visiting an escape room. We talk about on-course and off-course activities. Usually everything is very lighthearted, and that's been the nature of our show. I'd like to think for really since the inception. We are not a hard-hitting show. We do not pin people up against the wall or paint people into corners just by nature. There are plenty of great shows and podcasts that do that type of journalism. And I'm going to even start by saying journalism is a tough word, because when we started this podcast, we didn't think of ourselves as journalists. The podcast came about after our first year of having live broadcasting in 2014, and we thought, wow, what are we going to do during the off season when things slow down, to keep momentum going within the idea of live disc golf. And from there, we said, well, let's just talk about disc golf. And the podcast, that's about as much, dare I say, that's about as much forethought
as we put into it that
as
year.
we did. Yeah. And that's how the podcast came about. Now, I do want to put that out there, not as an excuse or does that excuse us from things that are said and things that are done. But please know, our show, that's the nature that we want our show to be in. There are things that get said on the show that Johnny and I absolutely disagree with. We've heard some really smart things. We've heard some really dumb things, and everywhere in between. And as Johnny will read here in a moment, we did not handle this specific situation the best that we could have. I think everyone is in agreement on that, as are we. It was a very difficult situation, and poor word choice was used by myself, namely, when I had a response that I did. So I want to apologize for that personally. I know Johnny feels the same. And with that, I'm just going to let Johnny read here the message. This was posted to Reddit, and we even had a debate literally moments ago before the show started. Who would read it, and do we go off the cuff, or do we read specifically what's off here? And as crazy as this is to say, maybe, being under a microscope and having the pressure of always saying the right things, or trying to always say the right things, or to not gaffe or not make a mistake, is a tall task.
Take a second.
Yeah.
I'm going to interrupt you like the presidential broadcast that's going on right now, because I'm sure someone is interrupting somebody. And I just want to read the statement.
Go ahead.
For those of you that have followed Smashboxx for the past 4 years, you know that Smashbox TV does not support or condone racism in any way, shape, or form. We have worked hard and been part of an inclusive community for 20 plus years. Anyone that knows us or has followed us and our work in the disc golf community can attest to that. We've worked recently with the Disc Golf Network to promote things like Black Lives Matter. We've championed FPO and their coverage for many years. We've donated our time and money to causes to help promote the inclusion of all people in the sport. We're very sorry that this was handled the way it was during the live podcast. We will work on becoming better hosts and handling uncomfortable situations and topics better in the future. That's mostly what we have to say. There's a little bit more on Reddit, but it's more specific to Reddit, thanking some people for support and the moderators on Reddit for putting that out there. For those of you that don't know, the video came down for a little while. The reason for that was I didn't feel it was necessarily fair for us to have it out there and continue to inflame the situation without us having a say. So I worked with the Reddit moderators to pin or sticky or whatever they call it, this post at the top of their board so that when people do see it, they can at least see this right away. And once that was done, we brought it back live. I don't really have a lot more to say about it. I think that, again, I've always said we get the community that we deserve. And based on the people that are here and the people that still support us, the messages that we've gotten, I can say without a doubt in my heart that I'm very, very thankful for the community that we have.
Yeah. I echo that thought. I agree with all of those thoughts. And we'll do better. We're sorry that this was not handled in the best possible way. And as awkward as it sounds, we don't know exactly what would fix everything, because right now it's done. What happened 3 years ago, what was said by both our guest and by us is done. We hope that our track record, as Johnny just alluded to, of not only inclusion, but also the things that we've done and the people we've worked with through all of these years, the fact that we truly want to embrace anybody and everybody is what we can stand on. And I'd like to say the people that reached out to me today as well very much said that they were floored by some of the things they heard in the rumblings, and it didn't sound like us. And I appreciate that. And people have already made their snap judgments, their past judgments. People want to write us off. That's fine. You can do whatever you need to do. But we will do better moving forward. And we appreciate the love and the support from all. And to put a side pin on this topic, I think you are going to hear probably more from the Innova camp, who we know has been a topic of this conversation largely. You may hear more from the Josh Anthon camp. Those are all things that they're working on that we are not privy to or part of that conversation. Everybody has their own steps that they're going to take from here moving forward. And we're hoping to move forward, have a good podcast, have a good broadcast, continue to bring you guys great live disc golf coverage, and hopefully find some way to enlighten and entertain week in and week out. And that's what we're going to strive for. So we appreciate it.
All right, everybody, deep breath. Let's talk disc golf.
I figured we should just roll right into politics, but
no, I mean, the debate's not over yet. They've got, I believe, 20 more minutes. At that point, then we'll do a full reenactment of the presidential debate. We'll flip a coin to see who gets to play who. How does that sound?
That sounds...
I'm sure there's a script out there.
That sounds much more unifying than anything we could do.
Other than the last 24 hours, what have we seen in disc golf this particular week? We had the Music City Open, which was it officially pushed back? No, I think it just was removed from the national tour scene.
Yeah, correct. I think the national tour, of course, within the realm of COVID, did not did not take place in its normal stages this year. However, the event was able to still move forward and still happen. And I know a couple of individuals on the FPO and MPO sides that are both very happy with the outcome of that. Johnny,
sure.
Can you name them?
I
At
know
least one of them.
Yes, Holly Finley.
She's won. Yeah,
won the FPO field. I saw the really cool trophy that she had. It looked like a golden record one would get from selling, if you're a music artist, selling X amount of singles or albums. Zach.
No, Alden Harris.
Alden Harris.
We'll break down a few more of the details, but yes, quickly throwing it out there. Alden Harris, and I was just going to look because I'll be the first to admit I do not know Alden like I do a lot of our other players. He is relatively new on the scene in that he's only had a PDGA number since 2017. I know he's sponsored by the likes of Prodigy and Eagles Wings. The few times I've seen him in passing out on the course, he's had a smile on his face. I think that always kind of tells you something. And to go back to see he's winning what essentially was a national tour type event this weekend is pretty impressive because in 2017, he took down his first ever win in intermediate. So I would say he's gotten very good very quickly. And I was just going to look and see, I'm going to have to assume this is one of his, yes, this is in fact the largest win in his open career or any career, all of his career, taking home $1,282 for taking down this A tier. In 2019, he won a B tier and a C tier. But Alden Harris, congratulations.
I'm trying to think, and maybe the board can help us out. Is Alden Harris in the OTB commercial that we see? I know there's Zach Arlinghouse, but I don't know if it's Alden or not. Anyway,
you're not thinking of Ezra?
Oh, maybe I'm thinking Ezra.
I think you might be thinking of Ezra. I don't know if I've seen all of the OTB commercials.
Is he better than Ezra?
Hey. See where you went with that one.
90s music jokes. Wow. That's awesome.
Nailed it.
Yeah, totally. I went all that way for that.
Yes.
No, actually I didn't. All right. The other thing we've seen, I mean, we can get actually.
Yeah, let's just
talk a little bit about.
Let's just name off our top few in the divisions
go
there.
Go for it, Terry.
All right. So as I just mentioned, Alden Harris somehow managed to hold down the C-Dick Slayer. Chris Dickerson showed up on Sunday, as he always does, and he had, I believe, the hottest round out of everyone on Sunday, shooting, second hottest round, sorry. AJ Carey had the hottest round. Chris Dickerson had a 49 during the final round, so he did attempt to hunt down Alden. He bested him by 3 strokes in that final round, but still came up 1 short. So, Alden, your champion. A stroke off of that was Chris Dickerson, and then another Chris Clemens, was at 22 under, and Gavin Rathbun at 21 under. So 1 stroke separating second to third, third to fourth, so on and so forth. So very, very tight. Actually, holy cow. The top 6 spots were all just 1 stroke different spot for spot. So
wow.
Incredibly tight. Just think, guys. 1 putt or 2 putts or 1 less tree kick could have meant like moving up 2 or 3 spots. You never like to think of it that way at the end. But so Alden, your champion, congratulations. As I mentioned, $1,282, pretty solid weekend's worth of work. And then on the FPO side, 24 women, so a pretty solid field,
that is
including our second or third highest rated player in the world in the US at least, Katrina Allen. So Holly Finley takes down Katrina Allen and the rest of the field. It looked like it was kind of a 2-woman race, really, because Holly and Katrina matched scores during that final round. Holly picked up a single stroke and then ultimately beat Katrina by 2. So it was a very highly contested battle between them. $675 for Holly's victory. Katrina Allen in second. A little off the pace, Ellen Widboom Shakalaka, in third place with a tie, along with Sarah Gilpin for that 3rd place spot. So top 4 again, Holly, Kat, and then Ellen and Sarah. Top 3 tied for 3rd. Congratulations to all of them. We'll quickly take a gander and see not who you would maybe expect, I think is still a fair way to say it. Aaron Walther taking down the MP40 division, besting the likes of David Harless and Kevin McCoy. Shasta Chris in the house. So nice work over there. All right.
Let's talk about the other A tier that happened, the Hollows Fall Classic, sponsored by Dynamic Discs. That was up in Manchester, New Hampshire. Tournament director was Bill Bruce. We see Matt Bell, no surprise, taking this one. It looked like he didn't have a lot of competition close to his rating. He's a 1,025 rated player. We see Trevor Harbolt, at 10-12, and Matthew Broderick at 1,003. So Matthew Bell wins by 5 strokes over Ravis Markins Craig. That's a mouthful right there. And then third place was Michael Habits, tied with Nicholas Carl. Congratulations, Nick. And third place, Josh Batista. So congratulations to the top 5 there. Scrolling down to Open Women, it looks like that we had it feels like maybe the rest of the FPO field that we didn't see at MCO. We see Sarah Hokum winning this one by 2 strokes for $600 over Missy Gannon. Third place, Courtney Cannon. Fourth place, Cassandra Loy. Is that how it's pronounced? Loy?
I don't know her personally,
Okay.
so I cannot attest to that.
And fifth place, Tamara Coburn. So congratulations to our top 5 Open Women. Yeah, you mentioned it, so I'll bring it up. Pro Masters 40+, Josh Connell takes this one. Is that our good friend J Ray right there out of Memphis, Tennessee, taking second place?
I mean, I wouldn't call him a good. Josh is more of our good friend. Josh is a Patreon supporter of us, and
true.
Josh has won multiple things over the last few years. So I'm pulling for you, Josh. Good job.
That's a good point.
Even
J Ray,
if I like J Ray.
I like
Josh pays us money. we can sell out that easily.
That's a good call. So J Ray, if you want our love and support, you know where to find our Patreon. Patreon.com/SmashBoxxTV. Anyway, congratulations. And Bob Kulik in third place. Those were what appear to be the only 2 A tiers of the weekend.
And speaking of A tiers, I'm going to throw out a little mention of the PDGA. I know scheduling is clearly on the minds of our players and more so our TDs and organizers for next year. I know that as we've seen the announcements of events, the Elite Series, the National Tour, so on and so forth. The next step will be for A tiers, I believe, are now in the time frame of submitting their A tier dates to the PDGA. I don't think it was you, Johnny, but maybe you could correct me. No, I think I heard it elsewhere. That A tiers may be limited to 100 next year. Is that a hard?
I don't believe it's. I can't say it's a hard number. I did hear that. Wow. And I think I did share that. Now, for reference, the last 2 years, I believe we've only been at about 110 A tiers. So it's not a huge. But if you look previous to the last 2 years, I want to say it jumps up year after year going backward. So I think they're going to get a little more restrictive, and it's going to be tough because obviously with the Elite Series going on next year, and the National Tour going on next year, which is a member of the Elite Series, but the Disc Golf Pro Tour, it's going to be very difficult to start feeding in some of these A tiers. And then you've got the distance requirements that events need to stay clear of, and it is just it's a good problem to have. That it looks like almost every week next year we're going to have something crazy going on. So,
yeah, there's going to be stiff competition with the best of the best available just about every single weekend as they flow around the tour. And then when they'll dip into an A tier that's not on the National Tour or the Pro Tour, or when they'll dip into, there's going to be the DGPT Silver Series events. I know those are going to obviously carry some weight, whether it's just to get extra points or whatever.
Like a Sula event?
Yeah.
We'll talk about that in a little bit.
Yeah, pretty crazy. So interesting to see that we're not really that much different in terms of the numbers for A tiers. And what I'll be interested to look at a little bit more is, will we find them on the fringe? Meaning, will there be a few earlier in the year and a few later in the year because they're either trying to spread them out, or people are just trying to gain, be off the beaten path after the tours have either completed or before they start. So by putting an A tier, knowing, hey, there's the tour is heading through the country, and if you're an A tier, but you're halfway across the country, you may say, you know what, I'm not going to have it during that time frame, and instead I'm going to shoot for a November time frame or a February time frame in hopes of being bigger on the bookends. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'll be interested to see how tournament directors, because they're always trying to attract the biggest and best players, but our season's gotten so
don't know
tough.
if that's the case anymore with A tiers.
Okay.
I would beg to argue almost that A tiers now, most of them will probably say, all right, we're losing out some of the top players to these national tour and pro tour events. And many of them are not playing the A tiers. They're taking these weeks off. I think the A tiers are going to hopefully, maybe not hopefully, but we'll start focusing on your bigger regional pros. If you're down in the Southeast, maybe you're trying to pull in the top players that aren't Chris Dickerson, even though we all know Chris Dickerson's the one that's going to play those because that's what he does. So maybe the Southeast wasn't the best example, but in general, try to pull in a lot of those players that are maybe mid-level touring pros, probably like your 15 to 30 ranked players, and then your local pros, your course pros, your things like that, because it's getting more and more difficult to pull these pros off tour.
Yeah, and dare I say that's such a good problem to have. That means the tours are doing things right. That means the tours are cohesive. That means they are working for the player. They are a professional tour and a tour series for a reason. It's tried to try and get people onto the tour, to ride the tour, to play the tour, to have it all flow nicely for them so that it makes sense for them the entire time. And if the more people we see on tour, the more people we're seeing at those events week in and week out, that means they're doing things right. So it'd be great.
Find out at some point if we're going to be able to have in the next 3 years, I almost want to call it A-level touring, like where they're strictly playing A tiers around the country and avoiding the Elite Series unless it flat out has to hit them. If there's going to be enough funds and the way the sport is growing to be able to sustain
organize secondary tour.
Not
You're just saying somebody that's
just
willing to go around and
willing to basically skip the big events,
sure,
but hit all these A tiers. I want to know if that type of pro is going to exist. Because I think you could be a 1020, 1025 rated pro and clean up at a lot of these A tiers, as opposed to going to a national tour or pro tour event and fighting for 6th place, 7th place, 8th place. Maybe you break the top 3 once in a while, but if you're a 1020 to 1025 rated player, that's probably not happening from what we've seen. A 1025 rated player is no surprise when they win an A tier. You're like, oh, that person was a good player. So I'll be curious to see if we can get some of those pros out and about and around.
Well, speaking of pros, let's quickly jump over to what we're going to see this weekend. We're jumping back on to the Disc Golf Pro Tour. What have we had, a week or two off? It doesn't feel like it.
It feels like so much longer, Terry.
Yeah, because the last event, of course, we were in Maple Hill. Now that's for the Elite Series. Also, I know they had the event in Maine and such, but the Elite Series that last took place was in at Maple Hill a couple weeks ago, and now this weekend. This is a rescheduled. This is a postponed event that was, of course, supposed to happen in April. That was right in the height of the original COVID release and information and everything else. And so now we're back here for the Play It Again Sports Jonesboro Open. I believe it's presented by Prodigy. As I'm trying to look for all the names here, there's a lot of things to spit
It's
out.
actually the big sponsor is the city of Jonesboro.
Is it?
It is. That is one of the big sponsors for this particular event.
Okay.
Prodigy is a sponsor as well. And normally I'm pretty clueless, but I've been working a lot with getting the broadcast set up. So I've been working with Brad and the sponsors, and he specifically said in the email, I want to make sure this city of Jonesboro commercial is played X amount of times. They are our big sponsor. The rest of the commercials can go to Prodigy.
Okay.
So
heck yeah.
Because each event is allotted like 6 or 4 or something, a certain amount of commercials. Yeah. Depends who you ask. Some people think it feels like 200. And so the city of Jonesboro is the the big sponsor here.
All right. Well, that's awesome. Thank you to Jonesboro. I'm looking at the current registration list of 95 open players as of right now. I did reach out to Brad. Now, this was probably a week ago, so take it with a grain of salt. But I did reach out to him and I said, are you seeing players withdraw, and how up to date is your list? Because I'll be the first to admit there was a little bit of surprise that we're seeing so many of our big names come over to the event only because of the geography. I've now, I think, punched it into Google Maps a couple times. I believe from Jonesboro over to Rock Hill, South Carolina is about 10.5 hours driving, which is what most of our players are doing. And so I was a little bit surprised to see so many players still make sure that they hit up the Jonesboro event. And that's no shade or slight on Jonesboro, of course. We're glad they are. I just figured with the timing and the commitment of the USDGC that's lurking right around the corner. Now, Jonesboro also, when picking this date, was very much forward-thinking in that the event, in this case, would happen Thursday, Friday, Saturday, to have yet another day so that players could get on the road and knock out that 10-hour drive for them to head over to Rock Hill, the ones that are doing so. So they'll be able to get some time, maybe even half or three-quarters of the way probably on Saturday night if they really wanted to, and then they could be arriving in Rock Hill by as early as Sunday or Sunday evening or afternoon. So hats off, kudos to Jonesboro, kudos to them for being so flexible, not only having to push back their event from their April timeframe, but then to move it into this weekend to try and still make it happen, and being in a good way really persistent about the fact that they want to put on this great event. They want to showcase their course. They want to have the best players there. They want to have a ridiculous payout, which I feel like they've done the last few years. So really excited. The only thing that could damper my spirits right now, Johnny, what's the weather supposed to be like? Only because I have no idea.
This weekend?
In Jonesboro.
Gorgeous. So
40 and snow like the last time I was there?
No, Terry.
Oh, okay.
Today I had a test with the cameramen, Sam, who I mostly spoke with. We had an issue last week, or the last event, with one of our live view units that was streaming, so we were kind of playing. It was a funny tossing game, the way that the camera work was happening, but we got a new replacement unit, and so we were testing it today, and he was bragging. He literally was bragging. He's like, Johnny, look at it out here. And right now, the most perfect blue skies, green trees, barely a cloud in the sky. And I said, yeah. He's like, it's going to be a perfect weekend. Yeah. So I'm guessing low 70s, no rain.
Well, I'm taking a quick look. This is not a sponsored ad by weather.com, but I'm taking a quick look, and currently it says 72 for the high on Thursday, 14-mile-an-hour winds, 65 for the high on Friday with 7-mile-an-hour winds. And then on Saturday, Championship Saturday, high of 68 with 9-mile-an-hour winds and 20% rain. Again, that's all a few days off.
Perfect weather.
Yeah, 72, 65, and 68 as our highs.
Are you still going to get sunburnt?
I'll find a way. I feel like, the sun knows no temperature bounds, right?
That's true. Worst sunburn I ever had in my life.
Even when it's cloudy, man, that's when you get the worst UVs, I'm told.
Worst sunburn I ever had in my life was in the middle of winter.
So, yes, very, very excited to be out there in Jonesboro. That was an event that I wasn't able to get to last year in April, and I think it rained, so maybe I'm okay with that. Weren't extra holes played, or there was a major delay? Do you remember any of that, Johnny? I feel like I was in Texas covering something, and Jonesboro was just a sloppy, wet mess.
Was all these years blend together? Was that the year? Was last year the year where they had to start the first card over in the morning, or was that 2 years ago, and then basically play them through the course, have them turn around and then play the course again?
That was a couple years ago. I was there for that one.
All right, they all start blending together at this point, so I'm not even going to bother to try to remember what is happening.
Maybe it didn't rain.
But Jonesboro has had its history with weather.
Well, not this weekend.
Not this weekend.
Well,
we're
really rewriting a new history. How's that? That's what we're doing. So super excited to be in Jonesboro. I will admit, I don't know if that is a... do you know if that's a phase 1, phase 2, phase 3? Do you have any idea?
I honestly don't. I
don't know if that conversation's been had. I'll have to reach out to somebody from the Pro Tour.
Supposedly Mo's going to be here any minute to.
Oh, great.
he wants to come and abuse our internet connection for a little bit. So he'll be here in a little while. Maybe we can ask him if he shows up.
Okay. Well, looking forward to a great weekend. So what we're seeing, I guess I got sidetracked there. Macbeth, Dickerson, Heimberg, Jones, Hammes, Girthy, Marweed, Klein, all there as your top, 7 or 8 highest rated players. Philo, Ulibarri, Hannum, Coling, Clemens. Now I'm going to second guess the Coling one, only because I feel like the last place I saw him was in Charlotte. So maybe he would drive over and then come back, but he's been in Charlotte. I don't know if I could see him leaving for the weekend and returning. So there's your insider tip. Unofficial, of course, for any fantasy leagues that you play in. I don't know that I'd put any wagers down on Coling if I were you. But hey, what do I know?
You heard it here first. Terry will not bet on Coling.
And I don't claim to know much. On the FPO side, excited to see the battle there. I believe I saw, thanks to Instagram, Paige Pierce undefeated at Jonesboro.
She's never lost at Jonesboro. I believe this event only goes back 3 years, 4 years, and she has never lost here.
Okay. What do you think her odds are? Are they okay?
Yes, I'm not an odds person. I hear people talk like 3-2 and 4-5 and like 5/5, and I don't understand that.
I'll give you the 3.5 over under thing.
I understand over unders. I'm pretty good with that. I would say that it's pretty darn good chance that she's going to be competing on that final day for a spot at the top of the podium. Terry.
Okay, well,
but
along with her.
You've never lost this event either, Terry.
That's true. That's true.
I'm just saying, like, you have something in common with Paige Pierce. Neither of you have ever lost this event.
Yeah, that is definitely a way to twist the statistics in my favor. Paige, Katrina, Haley King, Missy Gannon, Jessica Weiss, Ellen Widboom, Vanessa Van Dyken, all to list off the top 5 or 6 women. Ratings-wise, the name that jumps off the page for me there is that we're not going to see last weekend's champion that you mentioned earlier. Sarah Holcomb's not listed, so I think she is going to bypass this event. I don't know if she's signed up to be elsewhere.
Not surprising if she's up in New Hampshire to go all the way to Jonesboro, then to come all the way back. Doesn't make a lot of sense for her.
So we'll see.
Is Missy Gannon on the list either? Because we saw that she was up in New Hampshire.
I believe Missy is on the list.
Okay, Missy is on the list.
So
that's quite a...
yeah, there she is.
Oh, yeah, there she is. That's quite a hike for her. So...
and I know like Trevor and Pixie, for instance, they just tried to knock out like the 10.5-hour drive coming down for 14 or whatever it is. Maybe it was 19. It was a lot to go from Maine. That would make more sense. 19 maybe. 19 from there down to Arkansas. So I know they're out there grinding away and they're making that drive. So travel safely, everyone. I see, yes, Pixie Courtney Cannon is listed as being there as well. So, and they were up in that direction. So, we'll see how that shakes out. But anyway, super exciting. And we're not going to get into all the details because we just said we're stupid with numbers. But the implications are real as to the shifting and the procurement of a spot inside the Pro Tour Championships.
Correct. Stay tuned and keep an eye out on a lot of the social medias for the Disc Golf Pro Tour. I know Seth and Mo and Dustin and all those guys are doing a really great job of keeping that up to date. And you can really get an in-depth look at some of the scenarios for who's going to be able to take, whether it's top 8 in MPO or top 16 in MPO for to shuffle those positions around, because it makes a difference. It could literally mean you not playing for a day.
For an entire day. Possibly earning yourself a bye into the next round.
Correct. So keep an eye out. You can also probably take a look at UDisc. I think they have a lot of that stuff out there as well. I don't know if they're going to be able to give you all the scenarios like some of the Pro Tour guys are going to be able to do. So, and shout out to Dustin, who I think is putting all those graphics together. That man is a machine.
Well, yes. So like Johnny just said, keep your eye out and know that this event just means so much more. Normally it's obviously early in the season and they're all important, clearly. But here we are. This is the nuts and bolts. This is like how much in your mind are you concentrating on playing Jonesboro, and then you know that the one major of the year is right around the corner. And you're going to have a 10.5-hour drive to get there. And that's on the MPO side. That's on the FPO side. Those are thoughts in the back of your mind, staying, here and present for this weekend to perform the task you need to then also be fresh and ready to go for the next weekend, which is going to start on Wednesday. Like, that's obviously a pretty quick turnaround. And not often are golfers playing golf on a Wednesday.
No, they're not. It's wow. The next week and a half is going to be crazy. It's going to be jam-packed with disc golf. There's no other way to put it. They just
yes.
I'm curious to see how some of the pros play in Jonesboro will translate at all over to how they play at USDGC. If you get if you shoot poorly at Jonesboro, is that going to roll right into USDGC, or are the courses so different and is USDGC so unique in its course and stylings that it doesn't matter what you do at Jonesboro? Because Jonesboro, what we've seen is more wide open, longer holes with wide fairways. Not a lot of danger to get into, it feels like.
No, and compare and contrast that with what we're going to see at Winthrop. Yeah, it looks relatively open. Of course, there's the OB lines to deal with, but it's vastly different when you look at the elevation. There is almost zero elevation change out there at Winthrop, and I guess now that I've uttered it, maybe that's not quite true. Let me backtrack that a little bit. There are some holes. I guess 3 jumps out at me. The 2 Coliseum holes. That's the majority of your elevation, though, that you find out at Winthrop. At Jonesboro,
Do they consider that elevation?
Well, it's not so much elevation. I'll just say I can't think of a flat hole at Jonesboro.
No, it feels like you're always going in and out of that valley, up and down. I'm sure there are a few.
I don't know that. I mean, there. Let's put it this way: there's no hole that's perfectly flat.
No.
The most subtle of the holes, I think of like hole 14, which we saw kind of revived with the Simon Lizotte Ace. 13 or 14 or 12.
Even that's uphill.
And that's what I say. That's probably one of the flattest holes on the entire course.
Why does, as someone brought up on the board, why does Simon even have to play this? He already won the remix.
Good call.
I mean, he's
yeah.
Is he on the registration? Because they just hand him the victory.
Yeah,
we already dubbed it.
I don't know that I see him.
So he's not.
I do not see him registered.
He's not on the list. I mean, he doesn't need to be because he won. So
I do not see Simon or Eagle on the registration list.
Yeah, Simon, the 2-time remix champion, and of Jonesboro for one, and what was the other one?
And the GBO.
And the GBO remix. Yeah, so Simon just taking his victory lap
elsewhere
and staying home.
So it will be very exciting. We're very much looking forward to it. Jam-packed. Let's quickly reiterate this weekend. First of all, the obvious, Thursday through Saturday, we're going to have our standard MPO, FPO coverage. Jamie Thomas will again be in the booth in Bend alongside Nate and then Val. I will be out on the sidelines trying to bring you something remotely insightful, hopefully from time to time, from the sidelines out there in Jonesboro. Don't hold your breath. I'm just saying.
Oh, I don't.
Just think, should we be queuing up, have a countdown clock to when I am going to give you an update, just in case people need to go use the restroom at that point? Like, oh, countdown to the bathroom break. Terry's going to... No, hopefully I bring you something insightful. That will be I will take that very seriously. And that's what you're going to see this weekend. So a lot of, I'll say, the norms from this year in terms of how this is going to go about. We're going to try a few new things on the back end in terms of the production, and try and get a little fancy with a few, added, things here and there. But in terms of the golf and in terms of the production, it's going to be pretty straightforward in that way. When we go, and if somehow you missed this last week or our update or whatever it might be, when we go to the following week at the USDGC, Disc Golf Network, Johnny, Terry, Sam, Evan, Mo, Jeff, all of us, we are not bringing you shot-by-shot, hole-by-hole coverage of live disc golf. I cannot state that enough. That
oh, wait. At USDGC?
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought we were pretty clear about that.
Hey, we've been clear about some things and not others. So I want to drive that point home. We are not giving you live shot by shot. We are not giving you post-produced shot by shot. We are not doing live shot by shot coverage at the USDGC. We have shows that we will be cutting in with and acting as a middle show between the morning round and the afternoon round. We'll give you a post-round show in the evening, but we are not there to provide live shot-by-shot coverage as you've been, I'll say, accustomed to with us throughout the earlier parts of the year. Fulcrum and the USDGC have a relationship, and Fulcrum Media will be bringing you the FPO in the morning and the MPO in the afternoon. I know it sounds obvious. I just really want to drive that point home, as some people still maybe haven't picked up on that fully.
And as I've told other people, go out and buy that gold package. Get the disc. I believe it's in the gold package, the top tier one. And you can probably turn around and flip that for at least almost $30, I'm guessing. Maybe even a little more. And it cuts down the cost.
There you go.
Or, you know what? Go in halvesies with somebody. And you could go to their house and socially distance, or you could split it and say, hey, I'm a huge fan of FPO. How about I watch the FPO in the morning, and then you watch the MPO in the afternoon?
Sounds like a great idea.
That's what I'm saying. There are plenty of awesome ways that you can get your USDGC live fix. So, just saying.
Go check it out. It is still available. I think if you go to USDGC.com, that is a good starting point. I wish I knew if there's a better. There might be a better link, but that will get you there. There you go. If you go to USDGC.com, there is then a link to bring you to media and live coverage packages, and that is all out there. Oh, the Gold Pass, Johnny. We're gonna break some hearts.
Oh, it's sold out. I told you.
You also said it was $30, so we can just be wrong all around, and it negates.
I didn't say 39.
I don't know.
Did I say there?
It doesn't matter.
I knew it was 40.
The All Access Pass is the only difference between the All Access Pass and the Gold Pass is that you're not getting a disc included, so a $5 store credit. But you'll get 4 days of live coverage. You're going to get a post-production type compacted coverage after, condensed coverage as they're calling it. You have exclusive access for 14 days, and you get a US Disc Golf membership. So that's $30. I'm actually linking it right now here in our chat board. So that is completely separate from us. We hope to complement what they're doing on that broadcast by having our time overlaid, so to speak, in between shows and then after their afternoon rounds. So please go check that out. And the Disc Golf Network, if you're already a member, you don't need to do anything. It's all bonus coverage. Everything that we're doing in that sense, or it's all bonus shows. Everything we're doing was not even planned at the beginning of the year.
It was barely planned the beginning of last week. Let's be honest.
So it's now worked into the fact that we can be there and that we can give you this extra content. Okay? All right. So we got Jonesboro. We got the next week knocked out. We're not even going to talk about the Pro Tour Championships. That's too far off in the distance.
Too far away.
But excited to be in Charlotte nonetheless for that as well. Real quick.
I was going to say, we were just talking about Simon Lizotte.
That guy.
Shout out and congratulations to him and his YouTube page, which has just crested 100,000 subscribers. He's making that fat YouTube bank now. He clearly doesn't need to tour anymore. He's not going to Jonesboro.
He's buying new houses.
Yeah, it's buying a house.
Engagement rings.
Proposing to women, just random ones. No, I think he knew her. I'm pretty sure he did.
Yeah.
So shout out to Simon. Congratulations. You put in a lot of effort into your YouTube. You are a star among us, and congratulations for all your hard work.
And I'll follow that up, and this is meant in the most sincere form of flattery. In addition to putting out so much effort, you're just so damn lovable. And I feel like there's a lot of YouTubers. Yeah, no kidding. Dang it. No wonder why we're at a fraction. No, there's a lot of YouTubers that put in a lot of work, as much or more than Simon. Sure, maybe not, but they put in a lot of work. And to no fault of their own, they may not be just as lovable and charismatic as what we find from Simon. So, Simon, it is very well deserved. The rate in which you went from 0 to 100,000 is ridiculous in our little sport. And you're right, Johnny. It's a lot of hard work. He had timing. He was very disciplined. He was very creative. But then when it's all said and done, all of that are just a few of the ingredients to the overall Simon recipe of just being so incredibly fun-loving and charismatic and kind. So congratulations to you, buddy. And speaking of YouTubers, our friends over at Ace Run Productions also say it is incredible. They are giving their shout out, and they said we are only a few away from 4,000. So we would encourage you guys also here at Smashbox, go out and make sure you give Ace Run Productions a little love and subscribe to them. I know they were in Music City this weekend, and I believe they had Chase Card. They can clarify on that. But Ace Run Productions, I'm sure, is going to have some bonus or some coverage for you coming out here relatively soon. So congratulations to Simon on that. And let me follow it up. As much as I said all those nice things about him, I watched one of his videos.
Simon's?
Yes. He was just shy of his 100,000. And it was the one of, and I'll be the first to admit I don't watch a ton of YouTube content, just in general. But I couldn't deny myself from watching him and Eagle in the alien costumes.
Yes, that was...
Did you partake in that one or no?
I started watching it, just a few minutes of it, and unfortunately I got torn away from it because normally my YouTube watching is done at my office at work, where all YouTube,
of you do.
That's
right?
where all of YouTube should be watched.
Speeds, man.
No, actually, my best download speeds are here.
True.
Let's be real. And I got torn away, and I didn't get a chance to go back. So I literally, I think, watched like the first minute and a half or 2 minutes, and then I never got around to going back.
Okay, well, it was funny. It was pretty incredible. I'm not going to spoil anything. But the way Simon still managed to play, I think they played the Maple Hill Reds is the layout for that they played. For starters, it gives you another look at Maple Hill that you may or may not have ever seen before. So I think that's kind of cool, that in itself. And then also watching them perform with those costumes, I thought was very, very entertaining. And I can't think of two better guys to be out there. Just the fact that they think of that. Like...
Well, they even gave a shout out to Ricky, who really came up with the original idea. I feel, and I don't know, maybe Ricky stole that idea from another YouTuber that we don't know, but Ricky brought it into the disc golf community with his T-Rex suit. That I did watch most of that one, and I watched that boy sweat like it was hot. So I think Simon and Eagle got off a little bit easy that they didn't have the full headgear over them like Ricky did, but it's Ricky definitely set the bar. Eagle and Simon jumped the bar and set it to a new level.
Yeah, it was great to see and very entertaining. So, like, I need to tell you guys to subscribe. You're already subscribed to him, as you should be. In other disc golf news, quickly touching on, I appreciate the polite or the truly lighthearted and polite sentiments sent my way. Some people have been giving me either a hard time in a serious or in a lighthearted way.
Like how I give you a hard time?
Kinda. Some people have keep joking about how I've made the cover of the Disc Golfer magazine. And let me be very clear. I did not make the cover. I apologize. I apologize that I'm in frame. I would rather not be because Katrina is clearly one of the best women golfers of all time. And
sorry, I'm covering you up, Terry.
Myself and Blaine from GK.
Blaine, the steadiest cameraman while walking our sport has ever seen.
And I appreciate it. I will not be framing it. It's not to say that I'm not.
Is that the first time you've been on the cover?
Maybe. I bet you if there's ever been like a really big crowd shot.
That's what I'm thinking, like a world shot or something like that. You've probably been in the background. But
I'm not taking it as a compliment in that I'm legitimately on the cover is what I'm trying to say. I'm not confused.
How come you're the one in focus and Kat's out of focus?
Exactly. My ego, believe it or not, is not going to inflate over that. Great. I'm in the background, clearly. But I do appreciate some people that have made funny references to me making the cover. I'm not losing sight of one of the best women players or players of all time, and Katrina getting her due. Here's what's crazy. The craziest about that, and I did read it in the fine print after opening up the first or second page. How many? No, I'll just say it. That's Kat's first time on the cover.
Really?
That's what I said. That's what it says. If you go
was
ahead and
disc
open it
golfer
up,
around when she won Worlds?
Yeah, I mean, it's
was it called
the
Disc
PDGA,
Golfer?
I mean, it could have been Disc Golf World or Disc Golf whatever.
And that's what I'm curious about. Like that first time is that the first time?
2014. Double check. I think that's what I saw.
I'm not opening it up. I don't
give me it. I'll open it.
I don't ever correct. Well, I'm gonna give it to you anyway because I don't keep these.
Okay. I believe I saw that, and I was shocked by this, and maybe somebody else can attest to it, but I believe that's what I read. Huge shout out. Again, the real credit, aside from Katrina, Lauren Lakeberg, one of the best photographers in disc golf. So thank you, Lauren, for everything you do. It says, I'm going to read this to you quickly. Okay. Amazingly, this is the first time Katrina Allen has been featured on the cover. No question, is about darn time. Top pro from Pipestone, Minnesota, population 4,046, is having one of the best years ever. And it says, of course, that's Terry Miller, the disc golf guy, and Blaine Williams of GK in the background at the final round of the 10th annual Ledgestone Insurance Open in Peoria. Fun fact, folks. Well, actually, let's ask this as a question first. What hole is that taken on? It was final day.
There's no way to tell.
Oh, well, I knew. How did I know?
Probably because you remember taking the picture.
I didn't take that picture, though.
No. You taking a picture.
I took 10,000 pictures that day.
I still think.
No, there's a reason why you would. It's easy to know because you have to think about the framing of where Kat was and relative to where we're standing. Like, it's funny because I knew instantly where it was from.
Sunset Hills?
Woo! Yes.
You did not ask how detailed.
I said what hole.
Oh.
You are right.
Hold on. That, if I had to take a guess.
It is Sunset Hills. It's day 4.
That looks like it could be. Is it hole 3, the one that's over the water, the hyzer?
Close. I don't know if there's any. We'll wait for just a moment for any other submissions. I'll give you a hint. That is close.
I don't know.
Okay. Well, she tickled the chains.
Yeah.
Crashed the chains is a better way to
the
put
one
it.
that
More than tickled.
the hyzer over the water that
is hole 5. That is hole 4.
Hole 4. Okay.
You're right. It's over the water.
I knew which hole. I didn't know the number.
There you go. It is hole 4. Hole 5 actually plays over the water too, with a very different throw. But
yeah, that's the straight shot
yes.
through the trees or whatever. So
Ray says, "Put it on screen." We already showed it to you, Ray.
I did, Ray. But I mean, I'll put it up again.
Yeah.
Ain't no reason.
That's much better. Absolutely. Get Blaine in there at least. Get Blaine in there. No. So, yes. Oh, that's why you wanted to see it on screen again to guess the hole. Yes, that was that was hole 4. And as crazy as it was, I was thinking about it today. I'm like, oh my gosh, she hit chains on that hole. I think I videoed that. I think I posted it to the Pro Tour Stories account at the time, and I still have the actual video. Mm-hmm. So I reposted it as an Instagram. I posted the video and then the picture next to it. I'm like, oh, it's kind of cool to be able to place yourself.
That is pretty cool, Terry Miller.
I don't know. Whatever. Congrats, Kat. And I think, side note, this is not a paid ad by Prodigy, but I think they also did a special release for Kat for that win, as it was her 55th time winning it or something like that. But no, they did a special release of discs. So if you want to go pick one of those up, you can in support of Kat and Prodigy. Frizax, you can lob out your question there somewhere, and we'll take a look at it, but we might pass it off as our own. That's after show stuff. All right, Johnny, you've queued something up. What do you got while I look at the questions?
I have a bone to pick with Innova. They have released a new disc, and it's just called the animal. And for you old school disc golfers, you know Innova, for the most part, dominated all of the animal named discs. Leopards, gazelles, rocks, all those animal based discs. Now they're just taking the entire kingdom, like just the animal. We own them all now. Anyway, the animal from Innova was an approved disc. It looks like it is like almost like a thumb track mid-range of some sort. It's got all the specs on the PDGA. I'm not even gonna bother.
Yeah, for those that might be familiar with an Atlas, I want to say it looks like it says it's legal up to 176 grams. I feel like an Atlas is. So that tells me it's a little smaller than a typical mid-range, but a little larger than a typical putter.
So anyway,
if I had to guess.
There are other discs that are approved, but I don't really want to talk about them. I just cared about the fact that Innova is taking over the entire kingdom by just calling it the animal.
All right. Well, I'm Discraft Next is just going to come out with
the galaxy,
the solar system, space.
It's so. Or maybe Paul Macbeth's disc will be the mythologies. You know, I just you're casting a wide net there, boys and girls. So anyway, that was my only reference to that particular disc. What else do we have? Do we have anything pressing? There's not a lot on the PDGA. We have a pretty light agenda. We can probably get into an after show sooner rather than later. I know you have a long. Or you have a travel day tomorrow morning you're leaving
tomorrow.
For.
I'm going to be heading over to Jonesboro. Again, obviously, I traveled out to Bend to do the play-by-play coverage along with Nate Doss, and now I'm going to be heading down to Jonesboro. And then from Jonesboro, it obviously doesn't make any sense in this case for me to come back, and so I'll be heading straight over to Rock Hill, South Carolina, and then hanging out there for. It's going to be weird because I actually have a long list of things that I have to get done, appointments and such that I made. And so rather than being gone for the duration of leaving tomorrow all the way through the end of USDGC, or correction, the end of the Pro Tour Championships, I'm going to be gone for a good amount of time, come back for a few days, get a bunch of things done, and then turn around and go right back down. I'm going to literally fly in and out of Charlotte, but being gone from everyone and everything going on here for that long just is not practical in this case. So looking forward to doing some traveling though, and looking forward to being back out on the course.
Looking forward to having you in the booth with Jamie Thomas at USDGC. You know,
yes.
that'll be cool. I know we just had you in the booth with Nate Doss for
and this is going to be a little different because I think just because of the nature of that show, I'm inside the Winthrop Arena, it's going to be a little different.
I'm really excited because we've never done anything like this. I don't know if anyone in disc golf has really done anything like this, where you're focused primarily, you're at the location but not focused on the play. We're going to be focused on the stories, the people, the stats, the facts and figures, all of those things. And while we might be able to check in with the golf if everything goes smoothly a little bit early on, we're going to get more of a player's perspective, I'm hoping, as we bring people in off the course as they're finishing up and let them sit, hopefully, in the booth with you guys and just rehash their round, talk about the highs and the lows, what happened, where they stumbled, where they excelled, all those things. So I'm really excited to see how this translates because we don't exactly know. We're working on a plan. We're working on some a format, some segments that we'll have, obviously some graphics. It's going to be a quick turnaround because I know Mo is hard at work taking care of all that stuff for Jonesboro. But so then we're going to turn around and hit it up at the USDGC, and I'm really excited.
Yeah, lots of a little bit of madness back to back weeks, but we're looking forward to closing out the season super strong. So we're going to close out tonight's show
super strong.
And then we'll head into an after show. We'll talk about anything and everything, maybe some disc golf topics or otherwise. And we hope that you join us for that as well. You don't have to go anywhere. If you're listening in on the audio version, well, of course, just wait another day or so. You should be getting the after show. Unless you're a Patreon subscriber, those are released at the exact same time. So if you want all the content in one night on your podcast app, the best way to do that is to be a Patreon subscriber. Otherwise, you just got to wait a couple days and the after show silliness will come to you a few days later. So
and I do want to shout out a couple of our new patrons. We had a couple sign up or up their pledge recently over the last couple days. And I'll be reaching out to you to take care of the there's someone that went to a $5 level, so we're going to get your picture here on the wall, the mini wall, and the clothing supporters that should be, I'm hoping, shipping out pretty soon. I need to talk to Miles about that. I haven't followed up. They were designing some sort of, I gave him kind of free reign. I said, you know what? I haven't done this in a while, so why don't you guys, your artists, take a stab at some Smashbox related thing. So I'm going to follow up with him, and hopefully we'll kind of get that nailed down.
Sweet. Well, that's very exciting, and of course, thank you to all of those Patreon subscribers, and then just to close it out and say thank you to all of our supporters, all of our fans. So many of you have sent us really kind, sweet messages of support, of solidarity, of hopefully seeing us for all the good that we do, and not necessarily the mistakes that we've made, but
not the easiest 24 hours in our lives.
No, and there's nothing like explaining to your 11-year-old that half the internet has a pitchfork and wants to show up at your house with it. So we're going to do our best to, again, grow and thrive and be better and do things the best we possibly can here at Smashbox. And we appreciate your love and support as we all take that journey, because that's what we're here to do. So, all right, we're going to close it out. This has been podcast number 317. We love you guys. We look forward to seeing you in the after show. And for Johnny and Terry, we'll see you then when you step inside the Smashbox.
Thank you to our $2 and above patrons. Your name is listed below in the credits. If you are interested in being listed as a producer in the Smashbox TV credits and supporting this and other fine podcasts, please visit patreon.com/SmashboxTV.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Smashbox TV's 317th After Show. I feel like that's becoming a mouthful. Did I say it right tonight? 307.
I never check.
I don't know either. But here we are. Thank you guys for joining us tonight for the After Show. Yeah, so just to put a little bit of a time and date stamp on this, in the sense that it's earlier than our normal after shows begin. That's not necessarily that big of a deal. It's 10:05, meaning our regular show went just a little over an hour. But also to date stamp this was the first night of, I don't know how many, but first of 3 presidential debates, and we're not going to go into them. In fact, I literally saw 0 minutes and 0 seconds of it, so I wouldn't have anything to say about it anyway.
I watched the first 20 minutes, maybe 25 minutes while I was
Any
upstairs.
fists thrown?
No, there was a lot of interrupting. You know, usually it was, and there was a lot of, if you can call it this, a lot of not moderating going on, in that the moderator was, he did not have a very good handle on the situation. And I think I saw something on...
Who was moderating? Was it Chris?
Chris Wallace.
Ah, okay. All right.
And the funny tweet I saw was, get Chris Wallace out of there and get a mother who's been in with her kids for the last 6 months in there, and she will show you how to moderate. So, because I think that was a hint that that both people were acting like children, and that we needed a good mom in there. No. So that's about as political as we get.
That is. But again, just a date stamp, time and date stamp that is something that was happening. Excuse me. As we were getting ready for our specific show and all geared up here tonight. So Tom McManus is out there on the board. Tom, good to see and hear from you. PDGA 1276. He says, you two guys acted more presidential tonight than some of the others that were on air. Well, I don't know if that's that's not a very high bar.
Yeah,
just in general.
Wow, that's almost a shot, actually.
Yeah,
depends.
And to be fair, I have dialed in to politics a lot more in the last year or two than I ever have in my previous life or career or time frame. And man, I don't care.
Yeah, you've always been a member of the Whig Party. It's really weird. I always thought it was a strange choice, but I respected it.
Yes, thank you. I cannot say it. I know this is going to sound so incredibly naive, but I'm going to say it anyway. I could just effing scream at how obnoxious all of politics are. And I will say, in the sense that I religiously, because I feel like I've been relative or up to speed throughout many years, I will watch different programs from very left and very right, and I will watch them back to back. I will put them on and I'll let them play. And I think if you really want to test, now I know a lot of people say, oh, I prefer watching so-and-so, and you prefer to watch whatever. I get it. Try that as a test one night, to watch something that's delivered, whether it's by our president, delivered, that, was presented from somewhere, and then watch the left and the right sides, or the left wing, right, whatever. Watch them both and watch how they have the exact opposite take. It's honestly, it's mind blowing. I don't know how we're even where we are as a country. I really don't. I know that's a big statement, maybe hyperbolic, but I don't even know how we are anywhere. It blows my mind. So, all right, you just get out and vote. I don't care who you vote for. Just get out and vote.
Yeah.
Okay. So,
it's a good thing we only have about 5 more weeks of this.
Yeah. Are you familiar? I guess this kind of leads me down this path, and maybe something that I finished the last regular show with. You familiar with swatting?
Yes, the act. For those of you that maybe don't know what swatting is, usually it's when somebody calls the cops on another person's house, and more or less implies that there is grave danger going on. So the police come in hot, full gear,
bomb squad, SWAT team type stuff, depending on what the call was made.
Correct. And again, this is not very prevalent, but the most prevalent in gamer culture.
Bingo. Yep. I thought about that today, and I thought
deep thoughts with Terry Miller.
Well, I thought about the divisiveness just in general, not just of our country, even the politicizing within our sport and the frustrations that are within our sport, and this could be said of a lot of sports. And I thought, is disc golf susceptible to something of that nature?
To swatting?
To something of that nature? Or do you feel like swatting is 100% just a gamer on gamer type scenario.
It's not 100%. I don't think. I hate to give absolutes like that, but again, most prevalent. Partially because a lot of times now it has to do with streamers.
Correct, because
the goal, so to speak, is to get the SWAT to come during somebody else's stream while they're on it, and there's been some really poor repercussions from stuff like that. We've seen a couple, at least one, maybe two, deaths from that, and just things go. I mean, when you have police officers that are walking into an unknown situation, you have a fairly high chance of something bad happening, and that's just that's not a political statement at all. That's just that's their job, and it's very difficult. So I don't think that we're susceptible to anything like that particularly. I don't see why, or the scenario in which this would, or where you're going with this.
Just the fact that I think about some of the frustrations that have been shared among, even whether it's the disc golf community or within any given sport. And then I think about how tight-knit of a community that we really are as disc golfers. A lot of us know one another. It's easy access to get, for instance, my address is in a ton of places. I've run tournaments for 20 years. So I've posted my address literally in hundreds of places. It's not a big secret, so to speak. But I just wondered if we would ever see that kind of extreme behavior.
I think you would
with
have
the amount of hate and vitriol that can go around. I just wondered if we'd ever see that kind of extreme behavior and where it necessarily stops at, because
I don't think so.
As you said, it's such a big thing in the streaming community.
Yeah, it just doesn't seem to be a. No, I don't think so. I don't think we're susceptible to that in our communities. It could happen to anybody, but it's highly unlikely, and I just don't. It's nothing that's ever crossed my mind. I'll put it that way.
No, fair enough. Anyway, it was something that I learned of a few years ago, and as the board has said as well, it is something that is much more common in the live streaming, usually game playing, whatever, community. And I obviously I'm appalled by it. It's ridiculous and clearly punishable by jail time and everything else. It's like the ultimate prank phone call, but with the highest repercussions ever. And it's clearly just an idiotic thing, but clearly doesn't stop. It doesn't stop people from doing it.
Very, very awful. Very awful. What else? Anything out on the board? I know it seems like the board's a few seconds behind us. I haven't looked at the delay on what's happening, because they're talking about the presidential debate, and that was like 5 minutes ago, it feels like. So is there anything
I do have some good news.
Missed in the disc golf world?
Let's skip all that other rubbish, as they say. Actually, give me the what did we do with that disc golfer magazine?
It's right
if you
here.
could hand it to me. I didn't get a chance to look at it yet because mine just arrived. However, I believe there is a significant write-up and article in here by who I feel is like one of literally arguably one of just the most talented and smart and insightful men. No, you don't make the list, Johnny. I've ever met.
Didn't expect to.
Kingsley Flett. We know him as Kinga. That's his Australian nickname, just as mine was given to me as Tezza. Kingsley Flett has starting on page 58, has a bunch of photos on an article, which again, I haven't even had a chance to read. I just knew it was in there. And he's got some photos in there, and I love how he shows a lot of them are places I was either with him or knew that he's got some photos from Perth, from Vancouver, Thailand, Canberra in Australia, Tasmania, which I've now been to with him. Just incredible. And I just wanted to give a shout out. He is one of my favorite people to talk to. I think he's one of the smartest men that disc golf has ever seen. So insightful. His history. He's published books. Very fortunate, and I'm excited to go see what he has written along with the photos. And he's a phenomenal photographer. And I, in looking over the article when he sent it to me a few days ago, I saw where he had made mention. I think one of the biggest things that stands out here is him talking about his gear and how he likes to travel kind of light and inexpensive so that he can be a little bit more mobile with stuff. And he goes on to talk about how he's got a 5-year-old crop sensor body and a cheap kit lens. And he says very much an amateur setup. And then he talks about how much he travels with that and or prefers it to a $3,000 setup. And then I look at the photos that he produces, and if there's ever been a testament...
Whoa, dude. Stefan, sorry, I'm not sure how to pronounce it, says he hasn't received the magazine yet.
I'm totally spoiling it. I'm spoiling
Spoilers on the magazine.
I apologize as I'm gushing over my Australian buddy, Kinga. But again, the real takeaway for me in that phrasing is that he produces amazing content, incredible pictures, and it's not about the equipment. It's how to use it, and he's just such a testament to that.
Oh, he's on the board too.
Oh no,
his head's big enough. He said already. Come on.
I didn't know he's coming in from Australia. So seriously, Kinga, just love seeing it, and he's done some work with Alta World. I believe last year when you saw a lot of the photos and stories coming out of Thailand and some of the whole Southeast Asia tour, that was Kinga who was contracted to do a lot of that coverage as well. So please go take a look at it if you can. Cody brings up a great point or a great question, and that leads to another topic, which is, Terry, have you read the Scott Stokely book yet? And I like how you didn't spell it Stokely because you weren't sure if the L became before the E or after the E. So I see what you did there, Cody, because I screwed up. I read about 3/4 of it. I was on a trip. I was flying somewhere international. I enjoyed it. It very much was an easy read. I got sidetracked and I did not pick it back up. I feel a little bit funny in the sense that I know Scott as well as I have throughout the years, and I'm not saying I knew all the stories. I certainly didn't, but it's an easy read. I think it's a great read. I would recommend it, and Scott does not pay us to say that, but I would go get the Scott Stokely Growing Up Disc Golf book, and I know you can find it out there on Amazon and other places. So yeah, go check it out. It's a super easy read, and it's fun read as he's talking about, some of his upbringing, some of his time out at the courses, and the people he interacted with, and the people he learned from, and some of those stories. It's really good, and go check it out for sure. And then also, speaking of Scott Stokely, did you see? I don't think you did. We didn't talk about it. Did you see his little tip that he put out on Facebook yesterday or the day before?
I don't believe I did.
I'm going to spoil it. So if somehow you don't want to know this, he said, here's a tip I've never given before. He goes on this kind of lengthy setup, and at the very end, he says that so-and-so's girlfriend, this woman, would like to know if person X would marry her. So she essentially had Scott create a video proposal so that Scott, in making this video, would ask this gentleman to then marry her. Does that make sense? Did I explain that well?
Yes. I'm just trying to think. Did she propose to him, or did she...
She's proposing to him via Scott.
Oh, yeah. Or did she more or less use Scott to have this gentleman propose to her?
No.
She proposed right to him. Good for her.
She proposed to him via Scott, I guess is probably the best way to put that. That's different.
It is, but good for her.
Good for him.
Good for him.
He's officially contracted to do.
Would it shock you if
he was then the minister? Or
correct.
No.
I was going to say, would it shock you if I told you Scott has performed 3 weddings? No.
I would say only 3.
Oh, yeah, I don't know if he's ever done any.
I don't. But
I'm just saying, it would not shock me knowing Scott that if you told me he's like, yeah, I spent a year as a minister and I performed all these weddings, and you'd be like, yeah, I could totally see that, Scott.
Yes. So I thought that was a very interesting. It really had me going because, again, he kind of drew it out a little bit, and the story that he set up for it. So I know it's out there somewhere on Facebook. Sorry if I spoiled it for you. I warned you. But yeah, so she proposed to him via Scott doing it. So I think he won a tournament last weekend and the weekend before as well.
He's got a new podcast
he's out there,
coming out, I think,
doing a podcast. I know. I was just going to say, he's got like 6 irons in the fire here.
He does.
wedding proposals.
It's the seventh iron. I don't know.
All right. I'd love to know if you guys saw that. Put it in on YouTube here if you guys saw what I'm talking about, or maybe I'm crazy. I'm going to read from Daniel Reynoso as his card reads. UDisc Hype Man Dan. He says, fun story. Noah Meinsma missed tourney sign-up this weekend. He offered his winnings if someone would donate their spot. A person took the offer. Noah took second and paid up over $500. Baller move, #tour break.
So
why'd he play?
No, not at all. I'm surprised someone else didn't take him up on the offer. Maybe he had more than one offer.
A fight?
Yeah, because you're getting a touring pro to basically sub in for you. Like, everybody jokes about, like, oh man, if I could have, just Paul come and putt this putt for me. You're literally getting Meinsma for the whole rounds. You're getting him for everything. You're like, no, cool, dude. You just play for me. I'll take your winnings. Thank you very much, and goodbye.
All right. Well, I will take it a step further and say they're talking about this weekend's King of the North, which Kale Leviska not only ran but won again. And Noah did. I see he took second with his 20 under par, $515. Kale took home $800, and Noah was 4 strokes clear of Jesse Adams in third. So, commanding second place finish. But my question, I'll
does the guy then caddy for him? Like, does he sit over his shoulder and
dude,
be like,
come on,
dude, seriously, you're costing me money. Like, yeah,
that would be very appropriate. Like, dude, you better make this putt. You better make this putt. He just became his number one cheerleader. But here's my question: if you're going to give away all the money, why are you playing?
Just to play. As I think Dan said, he wanted a stress-free round with his Minnesota friends. So Noah apparently got a stress-free round with his Minnesota friends. So he knew he wasn't going to take home any money, so to speak. So he got to play and have fun and make $500 for some dude.
Okay. I mean, sounds good to me. Yes, very cool, Noah. The fact that did he say he gave it all to him? That was the arrangement?
$500, yeah.
Yeah. I just think, like,
now if you're the guy,
split, or
if you're the guy, do you tip Noah?
Good job, kid.
Pat him on the back, toss him a fitty.
Yeah.
Be like, thanks, buddy. Now, did Noah have to pay the entry fee on top of giving him the money? Because then you're out double. Yeah. I think that might be where I draw the line. like, come on, dude, you can't cover my entry fee.
Now Noah, going into it, was the second highest rated player behind Kale. Like I said, that's where he finished, was in second. So I don't want to say it was a safe bet or easy money. It certainly was not any of those things. You got to go out and still play the course. But Noah was, in fact, the second highest rated player then to enter in the event. So that's pretty awesome. Thank you for the story, Dan. We appreciate it. All right, I'm going to read down the board and see if we have any stories that can top that. Zachary was confirming what I said, that Scott won Idaho State's. Yeah, we already talked about the city that I can't pronounce, Zachary. We talked about that last weekend. Daddy Disc Golf asked, know anything or care about the Night Shrike 3 release from Discmania?
Do I know anything about it? No. Do I care anything about it? Double no. But what I will say is I'm interested to see how as I am now with all of these pre-sales, how they go over with the public. Are they going to sell out in seconds? Are they going to is it going to cause a big uproar on social media about it's sold out, I didn't get any, blah, 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 because we announced that Discmania was taking a couple different approaches to their sales tactics, as far as, selling them at around a map, which is like the low price, or the minimum allowable price, or whatever it stands for. They recommend an MSRP but don't enforce it. I believe new distributors or wholesalers cannot sell online or on social media, we'll say, not online, on social media, and new wholesalers need to have either a brick and mortar store or an online web store presence. You can't just be a wholesaler and turn around and flip them on eBay, or maybe eBay is a bad example because there are eBay stores, but
Sure.
on a social media, on Facebook, on a the raffle pages or whatever it is. You can't do that, and they're not putting that in place for their current distributors yet. So I'm curious to see how this particular sale goes.
Yeah, and I'm getting confused by which sale had exactly which agreements and whatever. But I believe one of the things they did, they specifically had limited the amount that people could purchase, and the priority went to brick and mortar stores. So someone like me who does not have a brick and mortar store but does have, for instance, a Discmania wholesale account, they weren't even offered to me, so to speak. So I couldn't even purchase the 10 that they were offering up. So someone like me couldn't get my hands on them even if I wanted them. And then, like I said, the brick and mortar stores were offered. And then he's saying that the shop in Maryland that sells them didn't get any. And you're frustrated by that. So I don't know, to how many stores that could go to. I don't know what that means, but I know there were, as you just mentioned, significant restrictions that were placed on them. What I can say is the other day I did get a phone call from one of our larger manufacturers that said, hey, we've got your stock order. And pretty much none of what you ordered we've got for you.
Hey, that order you made? We ain't got it.
Yeah, that order from 3 weeks ago that you submitted, we don't have most of it. Would you like a whole bunch of other stuff? Well, not a whole bunch of other stuff. Would you like a few of some other things that we still do have? And this really is just a testament to just...
They're still catching up.
Yeah, everyone's trying to get caught up. And the only part that was annoying or frustrating about that phone call is that very day there was a post by said company that said, hey, you should go out and order these from us. I was like, well, okay. You say you got them, I'll order them. So I did. 3 weeks later is the first time I hear from them. And it's like, yeah, we don't really have those. It's like, all right, we shall move on. There's bigger fish to fry, I guess. All right. Zach says some online shops has had some. Yeah, and again, there's so many dicey situations, and we don't need to go down the whole necessarily down the entire world of, because I continually say, aftermarket, I might be able to get a limited amount of something, and I'm supposed to sell something at a certain price. That's not to say I can't just give them to Johnny and say, hey, Johnny, go sell these on Facebook for whatever price you really want. I mean, there's always going to be things that can get worked around if somebody wants to. We all know. And
as I've said, you as the wholesaler run that risk when you try to pull a scheme like that. And if you get caught, you could be...
They could just not sell to you next time.
They could pull it out. So
yes.
Daddy Disc Golf says Ultraworld just published an article addressing the Anton thing. We'll have to read it. I'm not going to read it on the air right now. I'm sure there's a lot to go into it. But if I figured, if you're listening to this right now, you can maybe go out and take a look.
Yeah. And what's interesting is I knew quickly. I knew that there was a conversation with Josh, with Jonathan, and some other people today. I'm not sure where those conversations ultimately, what they resulted in, what kind of things are being said or done. I can't speak to any of that. I just knew that a conversation and something was going to be said. Now, Ultraworld clearly is going to have some form of insider article to it, and then on top of it, we may or may not see any other official responses by another outlet. I guess we'll just have to wait and see on that. Ray does say, and the Aaron Rodgers revenge tour is looking spicy. Johnny, you can attest to that. Aaron Rodgers.
Oh, looking awesome. I mean, we just beat the Saints.
Yeah. Sorry, Dixon.
Sorry, Dixon. We had a little bit of back and forth on the social medias, just a bit. Both teams were without their number one wide receiver. The Saints have Thomas, who is probably the number one wide receiver in the game, arguably. Maybe Adams.
Clarence?
Not Clarence Thomas, no. No.
Andre?
No.
The Big Hurt? No, that's
No.
not him?
No.
Dang it. You'd think my 90s baseball would pay off from time to time, but it hasn't.
It hasn't. And Rogers, obviously, without Devontae Adams, who is maybe the number 2 or 3, arguably, wide receiver in the league, depending on who you ask.
Yep, right behind Rice.
Right behind Jerry Rice, yes.
And Moss.
And Randy Moss.
Those 4-letter names.
Adams. No, Adams is 5.
No, he doesn't
Damn.
count. No, I just meant Ross and Moss.
So ultimately, yes, Aaron Rodgers is looking very good right now. I'm obviously, as always, I'm excited to be a Packer fan. Even when we're playing poorly, I'm excited to be a Packer fan. But it makes it a little bit easier. I'm not going to lie, waking up on that Monday morning knowing that your team that you follow is doing well. And I'll keep you, Terry, as if you don't know this. The fantasy disc golf league that we are in with the other media
2-1 this week. We won 2.
We won.
Yeah, so we're 2-1.
I think so. Yeah. How do you know that?
How do I not know this? You don't think I'm up to date on the footballs?
I don't. Do you know
the
who
pigskins?
Do you know who we played this week?
Yes, that disc golf strong. We crushed them.
No, we didn't.
Yeah, a while ago we crushed them.
We crushed Corey Merle.
Yeah. Okay.
So
wow.
That was
that guy with the floppy hat. We beat him.
Floppy hat guy. So we crushed him this week, and I don't even know who we're playing next. But ultimately,
we'll crush them too.
Oh yeah, clearly.
Let me just
Actually,
double.
last week Steve Dodge beat us pretty handily.
Oh.
So
I will double check the roster and make sure it's where I want it to be. I could see substituting in. Gosh, I don't know. Somewhere like we could get Ray Allen back in there. No, right.
No Sweet Ray.
Okay.
And the Brewers made the playoffs. They squeaked in, so I'm just hoping we don't get swept. It's not a pretty team this year, but you know what? Hopes are eternal. It's baseball. Anything can happen, but probably not.
All right. Some more context coming in from the chat board. Of course, we encourage you if you're playing along here with our casual chat session, that is the after show. We love to see and hear from you. We love everyone that chimes in. We really do. We'd just love to see and hear from more of you. It's always like the same 10 or 12 super dedicated, hardcore,
we've got like
super
200
great supporters.
200 people watching or so right now.
We'd like to hear from more of you if you're chimed in here. So if you log in to either the Facebooks or the YouTubes, YouTube is a little easier because then I for sure see it. But yeah, chime in. Tell us what you got. Ask us a question or let us know what you're thinking.
Do we want to give something away, Terry?
Oh my gosh, I do that. What a segue, Johnny. You nailed it. You didn't even know it. Giveaways.
Okay.
This guy's much more caught up. I don't want to say 100%, but pretty darn close. If I haven't gotten you something, it's probably because I'm now waiting officially on your address. A response to your address. Last week, I put in some real work to get caught up on our Smashbox TV Patreon giveaways. Just please always know, the stuff is coming. Your free stuff is not going anywhere. It might get there late, but it is always going to get there eventually. So I did a whole bunch of catch up. There were a few weeks I had to get caught up on. Some people got disc member boxes. Other people got some discs. Some people got shirts. Little mixture of everything. These are all part of the free giveaways that you are automatically eligible for, and I got largely caught up. In fact, some have already arrived. I've been checking the tracking numbers, and we love our international smashies, but it stings just a little to see that you've contributed $1 for 12 months, and for us to ship you the disc you just won cost $28, but we're all good with it.
We're here for it.
We are here and we are glad, and that's not even meant as a guilt thing. It's just kind of funny. But yeah, we go international, baby.
We do.
So I shipped out, I think, something to Finland, something to the UK. Yeah. So super glad to do it. So we appreciate it very much.
And something we haven't talked about at all recently is Skip Ace Fantasy Disc final week of the season. Jonesboro. It kind of feels early, but there's really nothing after Jonesboro for the tour. We've got USDGC and the Pro Tour Championships. I'm doing something for the USDGC,
Okay.
a big event, because we had a bunch of events canceled this year. Did you know that, Terry, that some of the events didn't happen because of COVID?
I mean, I got an email that told me to go out and still make sure I signed up for the Texas State Championships. What do you mean it didn't happen?
Well, some of them
I'm waiting on my
happen.
picks to hit.
So I have created an event for USDGC where I'm going to give away, hopefully, all of the gift certificates that Infinite Discs has so nicely supplied me for the season. And we're going to create a nice big thing for USDGC. So if you go out to skipbase.com, sign up if you're not a member, and you can look right there under, I believe it's the homepage or it's the events page. It will show you probably 2 events right now at least that you can sign up for. And if you click on the USDGC one, free to enter. Try to pick, I think I have it set for 6 MPO players based on salary cap limitations. Pick the best 6. We'll figure out who does what, and I will get your email address, and I will send you out gift certificates if you do well enough. And I'm not exactly sure how I'm going to do it because I have about $200 in gift certificates, but they're broken up into $5, $10, and $15 increments. So I need to kind of figure out. I might take like the top 10 or 15, probably maybe like we'll say the top 5 or 10, and give them $15 gift certificates, and then break it down a little further as we go, move south down that leaderboard. But I have a whole bunch, and I want to make sure that they get out to all of the Smashies and the Skip Base supporters. So go out there, do that. Jonesboro is our last event of the season, and then I'm already talking with my developer about some new stuff that I want to implement, and hopefully working with maybe some of those guys over at UDisc to help a little bit. Hopefully, if the stars all align, a little integration with some UDisc action for next year. That's really about it, Terry.
Okay.
Let's give something away to our Patreon supporters who we clearly love the most. We have 201 supporters that are eligible to win this giveaway. If you would like to be eligible every week without having to do any sort of hoops to jump through, you can just go to patreon.com/SmashBoxxTV and show your support in a monetary way. What number should we pick? I sorted them by first name.
Ooh, well, with that in the back pocket, I'm going to say the third number that you choose.
The third number that I choose, Terry Miller. Let's look at random.org. The first number is 57. Second number is 114. Over under 114.
Under.
Third number is 120. You lose,
Yes,
Terry
so
Miller.
close.
You lose. Number 120
Man, I feel like I could just
is
do this all night long.
Luke Kiwe. Luke Kiwe. Congratulations, Luke Kiwe. I think you're a new...
That is a new name that I don't believe I've ever shipped to before. So from that perspective...
I think he's a brand new person on our thing because I'm looking at the total amount he's ever given.
Awesome.
And he's
going to cash out.
It's-
He's like, those
it's-
suckers gave me a disc already. I'm out.
It's zero. He's literally given us nothing. He signed up this month, and he won right away.
That's the way to do
and he
it.
signed up at the $2 level. So
Get out while the getting's good.
it's just
You just won yourself a free disc.
no, Luke. Trust me, you win every week.
Yeah, that's it. No, we appreciate it.
Thank you, Luke. Much appreciated. You'll see an email from Terry trying to get your address so he can creep on you and send you plastic.
J Ray has been messaging on the Facebooks throughout the show, asking if we really were talking about him earlier.
No.
No, not at all. And he said, "Fine, I just became a Patreon subscriber. You guys suck."
Oh, from the heart. From the heart, J. Ray.
We love you now. Now we love you.
Now we
J. Ray.
love you as much as the guy who beat you by 9 strokes this week.
Ouch. Too soon, Johnny. Too soon. Sam Doyle, I apologize, Sam. I can't read all of the details, but Sam, who's on the board, sent me a screenshot that looks like it's in the Innova Only Collector group on Facebook, if you're there, by Riley Keller. And Riley, it looks like there's a lot of writing here, but it looks like Riley is serving in some form of the armed forces for us, and I think that the gist of it is that he is overseas and is still playing disc golf. I think it sounds like he maybe got an ace just recently, And so congrats, Riley. And I see a 297-foot hyzer ace right into the basket for his 4th ace. Once I knew about the course, my main goal was to bang an ace, and I'm happy I got it done. So congratulations. There might be more of a write-up. Sam had said that he's looking into maybe doing a little bit more write-up on that story with Riley. But that's awesome to see. And, of course, thank you for everything you're doing. And congratulations on getting an international ace on top of it. All right. I'm going to read a few more things off the board here that we see. Jeff is, what disc is in your bag? If you lost, you would cry.
Oh,
so is that kind of like saying what's your favorite disc, or not necessarily?
No, not necessarily. There might be a disc that you go to a lot, but it might not be your favorite.
Or one that's got more sentimental value, and it may or may not necessarily be your...
For me personally, it is probably, I think it's my 2006, 2004. I'd have to go and look at the stamp.
Ooh, Fox Valley Open Buzz.
Valley View Open Buzz.
Ooh, that one.
Yeah, it's a tie-dye. I almost cried when I lost my EMAC SS the other night, a couple weeks ago, because I'd left it on hole 18. I went back like 10 minutes later, and maybe 2 groups had gone through. It was gone. I asked both groups, and they said, no, we never saw it. So that one hurts, that you think like, man, maybe one of them has it, and you can't really do anything about it. But I hate to think ill of someone. Maybe somehow I couldn't find it, even though I sat and searched the fairway, which hole 18 at Dretska, there's, it's a shorter turnover shot into a wide open fairway. I searched all over, couldn't find it. So that hurts. But I would say it's my tie-dye Buzz. It's kind of my go-to mid-range. Anything inside of about 250 to 260 to about maybe 170. I would say I use that particular Buzz for straight and hyzer shots.
Okay. I have I have an old rock that is pink.
Pinky.
And discolored around the edge of it. I may have sat in the back window for an extra day at a weird angle or something, but it's discolored around just a portion of it, so it makes a little crescent moon on it. That it's got to be at least 25 years old. I did not own it for all of those 25 years, but it is an incredibly beat old Ontario rock, and that would definitely be the most disappointing or the most sentimental and the one that would be the most difficult to replace because of its flight and just the fact that it's as old as it is. I have other discs that I throw more, of course, but that one's irreplaceable, as they would say.
I don't think I throw any disc as much as I throw that Buzz, to be honest. That mid-range Buzz, I think I throw it more than any other disc in my bag. So that's double the fact that it's probably one of the oldest discs in my bag, as well as the fact that I still throw it the most.
Let's take a look-see as I'm scrolling up, trying to find a little bit more. People are asking what is the hype, so to speak, around the Halo discs. And I'm just going to say that the only thing I've heard, now I've purchased some, I've sold some, I have quite a few. I've never thrown one. They're too expensive to throw. I've never thrown one. I know that Double G throws a Halo Wraith, if I recall. And if a Wraith can control Double G's power, then I think there's something to be said about its stability. That's the way I would look at that. I don't know if they're all more overstable because of that Halo ring around them or not. I can't speak to that, but if I had to summarize or think of its premise, I think that would be the thing that I've heard the most is somehow that affects the stability. That's about as far as I can go with that. I do want to make a quick, absolutely shameless plug to let you guys know that I am restocked on boxes. If you are shipping out discs, many of you receive discs from us in a box that's been folded either in a 1 or 2 or 3 disc configuration. I am fully restocked on shipping boxes and bags. So if that's something that you're a collector or you're someone that sells a lot and ships a lot of discs and you want them protected, that's something that I developed along with another guy a few years ago. and going through quite a few of those. So reach out to me. And also, Johnny, I'm excited. By this time next week, I'm going to have dozens and dozens more plastic bins.
Oh, that's right. You were saying that you're getting some of those larger bins that a lot of the disc resellers
transport
their discs in to sell.
The big ones that you see that are really sturdy, that will last a lifetime.
And they stack really nice.
And they stack up perfectly. It's so silly that 25 years into the sport, I'm excited about getting a whole garage full of plastic bins to store discs. But these are the top of the line plastic bins, and I'm super excited to have more in stock. I might be able to store a few thousand more discs safely that way. So once I get all of my discs into those bins, the ones that aren't, then the rest will be available for sale, because that's the only way to store your bins. All right, Carolina asks, Chainbanger asks, Terry, do you have any Halo Sidewinders? I did not purchase any of the Sidewinders. Sorry. I think I just got the Destroyers and the Wraiths and the Shrikes. Ace Run says there was a 530-foot par 3 that he unleashed and the disc on, and was the only one with a legit 2 look on it. So he must be talking about, oh, man, he was crushing that this past weekend. I got to scroll up a little more. Maybe he's talking about Double G at Music City. That would have to be my guess.
That would make sense. Double G can kind of crush on anything.
Yes.
And sometimes we crush on him. So, he's our favorite little guy.
Is it going to be weird at USDGC without all the extracurriculars? That's a kind of a segue. Like,
yeah,
the King Masher competition, any of the putting stuff, the cancer awareness, throwing over the lake for that competition, and all of that kind of stuff. Not the kids for the Edge Village.
No, only because there'll be nobody there. So, what no one's there to not see.
Sure.
The only way people are going to consume this is via live or post-production. So the fact that that's not there, nobody's probably going to miss it. The players, they probably won't miss it. It's always a fun and charitable thing to do, but I don't believe that it's going to be that missed. Kind of similar to how missed was the Off the Raft this year at Northwoods. Was it? You think it was heavily missed? Like, it's just one of those things. Like, okay, we're not going to do it this year. We all understand why. We're moving on. Hopefully next year maybe they'll come up with something cooler, bigger, badder to make up for the year. I don't think it's going to be too missed. It's rarely gotten, other than I think maybe when Coling sunk one of the drives. And I think there was a Double G one. I've seen a couple Double G ones where he mashes a putter over, and then obviously the Double G backflip.
Mm-hmm.
Those are memorable in my mind. But it doesn't get a lot of social media play usually, or it hasn't in the past.
Yeah, it's more of a present fan experience in the first place, because there's something so magical about watching our top throwers in the game be handed a disc right out of a box that just came from down the road at the end of a factory, but they're handed a disc or have a small set of them, and then take it right out of the box and then try and clear the lake with it. There is just a raw, not just power, but beauty to all of that competition for sure. So it will be definitely different to not have that. However, I think we're going to have a different ceremony that's going to take place.
There are
a couple of them.
Yeah, I mean, they always do they do like a volunteer one.
Yeah, the Golden Rake.
Rake, and there's going to be the Hall of Fame this year as well. So I'm excited because, as you know, one of our coworkers at Disc Golf Network, Val Jenkins, is getting inducted into the Hall of Fame. So I think they're going to do some sort of ceremony on the live broadcast for that. Not the DGN one, but the Fulcrum, the USDGC one. So I'm excited for that. I think that's cool. That might be, if you're looking for things, another reason why you could get the live, it's for that, because I don't think you'll see it anywhere else. Because I don't believe it's going to be put on any sort of post-production. Maybe they'll cut something together for social media, but I can't say for sure. I truly, honestly don't know. Sometimes I say I don't know, and I do, and I just can't tell you. But this time, I truly, honestly don't know if they're doing anything for it. So if you want to catch that, another reason to sign up.
speaking of signing up, as I quickly scrolled through Facebook, big shout out to Nigel and the crew over at Samui Disc Golf over there in Thailand. It just popped up on my Facebook, and I look at the offering talking about league today at 3 p.m. This is over on Koh Samui in Thailand, and then they got a picture of some tacos that are made there right on site. Just brings me back. Dude, I love seeing things. 200 baht entry, 99 baht tacos, which is about $3 or so. Ace Fund, 5,000 baht. You want to guess how much that is?
Wait.
5,000 baht.
If 90 was 3, that's probably a $10, $10 to $15?
No, 5,000 baht is $157 in the Ace pool.
Oh. That's my quick math.
No,
way off.
You got to really think about where I was going with that. But yeah, just brings back the memories, and looking forward to all the times over there. I don't have much more. I don't know if our crowd does. We're going to start to wrap things up otherwise. Kingsley is out on the board, says he misses Nigel's food, and we miss all of the great kind spirits and everyone that hangs out around there over in Samui.
And I hope for everyone's sake that when we get closer, everyone's able to make that trip and get over there.
Yeah, it's a lot of international travel, and the other plug I didn't make. I did post this last. I don't know if we talked about it. Did you see my Croatia video that was like 4 minutes where I kind of wrap up?
Nope.
You need to subscribe, hit the notification bell, Johnny, on the Disc Golf Guy
I'm
channel.
subscribed, but jerk. I don't ring that bell.
If you could, please go out and just take a quick look. It is a 4-minute promo is a strong word. It's recap is also a strong word, but it's 4 minutes of fun. And to me, and what I'll say about that event, and it's happening in some form. This is the Drava Forester in Croatia. It is still happening, just not with nearly as many international players. I watched that video, and even after editing it and posting it, when I rewatch it, it still puts a smile on my face every single time I watch it. And to me, I just think of how much it embodies our Frisbee family. It has all these different countries represented. You hang out together kind of as a family for an entire week, and you are never bored. You are never not entertained. You are never taken. You're always taken care of with your food and your room and your board and your travel. All of that's inclusive, and this isn't a plug for it because I know you're probably not going this year, but the Drava Forester, please go check out that 4-minute video that I put up, kind of recapping or highlighting what that week is about. And if you don't think you need to sign up for it, I'll just tell you you're crazy, because you do need to get there. And we'll have some more coverage coming down the pipe as well, but we'll save that for another day. So we're going to close things out. We want to thank all of you. Yes, we touched on it. Sula, PCS Open, also international.
And part of the Pro Tour now.
Part of the Pro Tour.
I can't believe we mentioned it briefly.
Yeah, you kind of mentioned it.
Breezed over it.
But yes, PCS and Sula are combining events for next year's event. So it'll be 2 days in Alisoun and then 2 days over in Vestnes, which are two places that I visited in the last few years. And you're going to play the first 2 days, like I said, in Alisoun, and then move over. Looking forward to it. Official Disc Golf Pro Tour stop, international. I can't think of a better place and country for us to have our first international Pro Tour stop. So thank you to everyone that's making that possible. And again, another event that you should be grinning ear to ear when you go and participate, because they just have that much fun. So super excited for it. So for Johnny V and myself, Terry Miller, the Disc Golf Guy, thank you guys for sticking around with us. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for your love and your support. We look forward to getting better with each and every week that passes, and we look forward to bringing you the best in live disc golf, the best in podcasting, and hopefully a little bit of mindless entertainment from time to time. Somehow we dial in on that more often than not. Again, Johnny, Terry Miller, the Disc Golf Guy. We'll see you next time when you step inside the Smashbox.
Thanks, everybody.